Hey guys, this is Den with D2 Destinations. Welcome back to the channel. This week what we're going to talk about is changing the oil on your Goldwing. And one of the most important things that you should not miss is this little thing right here. This is a crush washer. You should put a new one on each time you change your oil. Simply take the drain plug out, dispose of the old one, put this new one in, and then when you tighten it down, it creates a wonderful seal. And of course, you're also going to need a brand new oil filter. I got this one from our local dealer that sells brand new Hondas, but you can get these online as well. And what I usually do until it's time to change the oil is I just tape the washer right to the top. So it's handy and ready to go when we get the tools out. Now, oil. What oil are you going to use? There's a big debate about that every single time that topic comes up, so I'm not going to get into what oil I think you should use. I'm going to tell you what oil I use, and that's this. It's the AMSOIL, 100% synthetic, and I think that will serve you extremely well, but everybody has their own opinions on oil, and I think your bike will like the oil you like. And if it doesn't, it'll tell you. So mine shifts great. It's O2. I run 100% synthetic because I think it keeps the clutch operating perfectly, and I've had really good luck with it. So I'm not going to get into the debate about that. You guys can hash that out in the comments as to which oil you want, but I'm going with the AMSOIL. One other tip that I find very convenient is to have one of these. It's basically just a Bikemaster Deluxe 5-liter oil drain pan and dispenser. Now what's cool about this is on this side you've got your plug right here. You remove that plug and you set this under the bike. All the oil drains out of the bike right into here. You put this cap back in and then you take it to your local auto parts dealer, and then they will remove this cap and drain it for you. And then you've been environmentally responsible, and it makes it really easy. Any of the auto parts stores, you just walk in with this, hand it to them. Sometimes I buy a little something while I'm there, but they'll take it even without that. So I highly recommend one of these, and this costs a whopping $14. So if you're gonna change your own oil, this is really the way to go, rather than the open pans and creating that big mess. So with all that being said, let's go out to the bike and change the oil. All right. Welcome out to the garage. We have everything we need out here. You're going to need 4 quarts of your preferred oil. The owner's manual says the capacity is 3.9 quarts. So some people say just dump in 4 and go, or you can measure it out 3.9 and go. We'll also need our oil filter, and on top of here I have a replacement crush washer that we're going to add in. I'll show you that as well. And it helps to have a thin profile ratchet, and the screw size is a 13 millimeter to get the drain plug off. Once you remove the drain plug, of course we're going to drain everything into this drain pan, which then we can seal back up and take to the auto store for disposal. So let's get going. The first thing we want to do is get the bike up on the center stand so that we have easier access to the drain plug and the oil filter. Just grab the handlebar here, the grab rail here, push down on the center stand, level the bike up until you hear both feet touching on there, and then simply push down and pull up at the same time. There you go. On the center stand, we're ready to go. The next thing we want to do is start the bike and let the engine warm up just a little bit so that we get some temperature in it. And now that that gauge is coming up just a little bit, we're gonna shut it down, and we're ready to go underneath and change the oil. I put some newspaper down, so we'll get the oil pan under there. All right, the first thing over here on your brake side is you want to remove this cover from the back. It'll just lift out, and then little snaps, and then pull straight out this way. Make sure that your grommets stay in place. So when you go to put it back, it'll slip right in. So you've got this one, and the two that are on here is right here and right here. Then you can have access to your oil dipstick, which is right here. We're just gonna loosen that. We're gonna take a look at the oil after we just wipe this down a little bit. Put that back in there. Pull it out. And sure enough, it's right to where it's supposed to be. I don't know if you can see that on there, but that did really, really well. You want to wipe this up just a little bit so you don't get any dirt or grime down in there. And then we're going to leave this in here loosely, just like that, so the oil will drain better once we undo the plug. Under the bike, you can see the drain plug and the oil filter. And one thing to get the oil filter off is this little handy tool that slips right over the end of the oil filter, and you can slip your ratchet right in there and loosen it if it's too tight to do by hand. Here's a better view of it with the ratchet attached. This is a flat ratchet to give you room to get up in the front. It is kind of tight in there, so you want to make sure that you have a flat ratchet so that you can fit this tool right over the end of the oil filter. The first thing we're going to do is remove the drain plug with that flat ratchet. You just need that to loosen it, and then after that you can just use your fingers to screw the drain plug the rest of the way out. Just be careful not to lose the crush washer. Once that's loose, the oil comes out facing forward quite a bit, so make sure your oil pan is forward of the oil drain plug. Make sure you clean off the drain plug really well before you attach the new crush washer. It's very important to get a new one of these each time because it creates a great seal so that you'll never have a leak. Back under the bike with the oil filter tool, we're going to use the ratchet just to break the seal on it. Once that is loose, it's a lot easier to just take it off by hand. Sometimes it's a little too tight just to start it with your fingers, but once you use this ratchet, it comes out very, very easily. The rest of it, you take it off with your fingers and let that drain right into the oil pan. Now we're going to prep the new oil filter with just a little bit of oil on your finger. Run that around the seal. That way it'll come off a lot easier. And I also like to prime some oil into the filter itself. And now we're going to clean the area where the oil filter is going to go back in. Make sure there's no grime or anything in there. And clean up also the remaining oil that's coming out of the drain plug. And we're ready to put the new filter and drain plug back in. Now it's best to put the new oil filter on with your fingers. You can feel the threads in there. Just be really, really careful that you do not cross thread this. Once it's in there, it screws in very, very easily until you take it down to finger tight. Once you get that tight enough, you might want to give it just one more little twist with the tool, but don't over tighten this at all. Just put the tool on, give it one little twist, and that's good to go. After your new filter is in, it's time to put in the new crush washer on the drain plug, and just screw that in with your fingers. It goes in very easily if you're not cross-threading it, and then you want to put your wrench on there and just give it a little bit of a turn where you can feel the crush washer tighten down, and then it gets very, very firm. That's time to stop. Now that both the new filter and the drain plug are reinstalled, just wipe up any remaining oil around there so that you can check it periodically and make sure you don't have any leaks in the future. Okay, and the last thing to do is just put all the brand new oil in the bike. We're going to remove the dipstick, have a nice funnel, make sure that's nice and clean. I cleaned that all out last night, and we'll start adding our oil to the bike. And again, it calls for 3.9 quarts. A lot of people just throw in all 4 quarts and go. That's up to you, but I'm certainly going to measure this once we get all 4 quarts in here. And here we are to the last quart, and I'm going to pull up short before emptying the whole quart in here and just take a measurement to see where we are on the dipstick. Okay, let's check the oil with the dipstick. Put it in, don't screw it in. Let it sit there for a second. Pull it out, and that is perfect. Right on the line. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just touching the full line. So that is perfect. Now we can put this in, and be careful of the threading. You don't want to cross thread that. Put it in there so it's just a little bit snug. There we are. The next thing is just to replace the cover. Okay, so now we just replace the cover. This pin right here goes over here, and then you have a grommet down here and one back here for this and this. So you just ease it into the front up here. And there you have it. The oil change is complete. We have a new filter, a new crush washer, and almost 4 quarts of brand new full synthetic. Oil choice is up to you. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you like this, please hit like and subscribe. Of course, now we want to fire the bike back up, so I'm going to turn it back on here and hit the starter. And you can see the lights are normal, and it'll come back up to temperature. We're going to take it for a quick test ride, and then we'll double check the dipstick just to make sure we're still exactly at the full mark. Now we're ready to take a little test ride and make sure that the clutch and everything's working as it should. So come along for a little ride today. Just change the oil, and of course she starts right up. That's what Goldwings do. And we're going to back out of the driveway and head around the neighborhood just a little bit. Make sure that the clutch gets the oil cycled through it. And here we go. Shifting nice and smooth. And I think it's really worth changing your own oil. You save quite a bit of money. You know exactly which synthetic you're getting. And of course, keeping track of your mileage with it. This oil change, this bike is at 90,973 miles. So just across the 90,000 mark, and you should change your oil with the full synthetic at least every 6,000 or so. Some guys go longer, some guys say no, you need to change more often than that if you're riding a whole bunch all the time. So I'll leave that up to you, but I use 6,000 as my measure, and it seems to work really well. And you can see the temperatures coming up on the bike right now, getting a little bit of heat into the engine. And we'll check that oil one more time when we get back, just to make sure it's perfectly at the full mark. Now it seems to be shifting very nicely, and those just a couple little tools really help. Remember, you need a 13mm socket for the drain plug. You want to make sure you get a brand new crush washer along with your filter, and 3.9 quarts of whichever oil you decide to put in there is going to work great for you. There's just always just a little bit left in that quart, but when you take it for a ride, get the oil up to temperature. Make sure that you check that one more time when you get back to be sure you're at the proper level. And that's what keeps Goldwing sticking. Great bikes. They'll run pretty much forever if you just take care of them. And by changing your own oil, you save a few bucks from the dealer too. So depending on what your shop rates are in your area, it could be significantly more or less than here. I don't know. But I think I saved well over 50 some dollars, maybe 60, just by doing it myself. And it really doesn't take that long
I was playing with the cameras and, you know, resetting the angles and playing with lighting and all that kind of stuff while I was doing that. But normally if you just get in there and get on the wrenches and drain it, fill it, and go. But it's really not that big of a deal. I appreciate you guys coming along today. One of the other benefits of oil change, she's faster. Oh my goodness. Alright guys, we'll see you next time on D2 Destinations.
Thank you for watching D2 Destinations. Please remember to like and subscribe so we can bring you more video. We will see you next time.